is what it takes. Dedication to purpose. I don't need to like that much, but because this stuff is in everything. It fills our bodies, especially our glands, and then the glands stop functioning right. I mean, that seems pretty obvious, right? There's a long-standing knowledge that aluminum is toxic, even though the DES or the MSDS report now does not say that. It says it's not been determined or not tested. I believe the MSDS has been changed since years ago for aluminum and a few other things for some reason. But so when it fills your glands up because it's toxic and it's aluminum, we know from long-standing studies that arthritis is directly related to there being high amounts of aluminum in people's joints. They've done autopsies and testing and determined that, people indeed who have bad arthritis and bone conditions seem to have more aluminum in their bodies. Gee, it's a big mystery. If we only knew what the connection was, maybe we could figure it out. Right? No, this stuff loads everywhere, especially in the glands, and this is what it takes to purify them. It's not about eating the hairs or anything. There just happen to be innocent bystanders in the way. I'm sorry, hairs, but you've been infiltrated, and your follicles have been splinter celled and nested with bioagents of a parasitic kind that are consuming lots of toxins in order to grow and do weird things. And this is how you purify the skin. I mean, don't you realize evil lives in the motherfucking skin? That was not just a, song lyric. They were dropping some truth right there. The parasitic fungus that precipitates itself upon the I don't know, the high metal content. See, for a while I toyed with the idea that this was just straight toxin. And so if I could remove it from me at a certain point, I would start to get better, right? And I went with that and things for detoxing in that manner. And it didn't really help. It kept on the issues with the swelling of my wrists and the anomalous pains in all my joints that just are directly related to my proximity to aircraft and power substations especially, but that's a different part of the story. So anyway, it didn't seem to help a lot with just detoxing things, and then I started looking into parasitic cleansing and stuff, black walnut and clove and what's another good one? Celery. Is it celery? I'm not sure. Celery oil or something along those lines. And then the mud baths. And the mud baths really helped. That's what started to turn things around. There was an oil slick on the surface of the mud bath after I took my first couple mud baths. That was very strange. I wish that I got pictures of it or something, but I don't think I did. Anyway, so this is I'm not going out on a limb to say that breathing into our bloodstream aluminum, barium, strontium oxide particles all day and night, every day and night for years on end is going to result in there being high levels of aluminum, barium, and strontium metal oxides in our bodies. And those things are toxic. They're not poison in the sense that they, make you fall over dead on contact, but they are poison in the sense that they're toxic, and at a certain point they will become a problem for your health if they're acknowledged. Our medical system has those metals kind of in everything. They're definitely in OTCs. They're definitely in, pharmaceuticals. They're definitely in the evacuation of the scene. When you need to evacuate the scene, it means get out of there. There's definitely those same metals. It always comes back to those same things. We can add to that mercury, although mercury is a little misunderstood because the liquid mercury is not really dangerous to humans. It's the mercury vapors or gases, in the tiny little form like that is actually dangerous and bad for the humans. And how do you get those? Oh, well, you could be exposed to mercury gas somehow, or they could put mercury into your fillings that will react with the acids in your mouth and off gas. And while you're sleeping at night especially, you'll just be breathing those off-gassing gases in with each breath of mercury, which combines with aluminum to make an even more dangerous hybrid when they get inside a cell. Or is that with the aluminum too? All those three, they like each other a lot. They amalgamate, you would say. That's in another part of the story, so I'm digressing here. We breathe it, bypassing the blood-brain barrier all day, all night, every day, every night, and it's completely not acknowledged. Completely. Just, new study shows that blah, 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 and this new drug says for this. You notice there's an onslaught of new antihistamines for runny noses and persistent nasal drip. And a while back, I remember they started selling on TV those nasal washers, that shoot water up your nose, like advertised on television. I was like, really? Really? COPD? I'd never even heard of that until 10 or 12 years ago. Now I know people that have died of it. Shit, if I were to go get tested, they'd say I have it too. I'm sure of it. Or if not, lung cancer. It's basically what the doctor told me in secret. It's like, oh, you're clubbing on your fingers, I see. He didn't say what it was about. When I look it up, it's like 5 pages of lung cancer according to Google. Like, oh yeah, okay, well, that makes sense why I was, coughing shit out of my lungs for 4 months straight in my van while I breathed ozone, and somehow I managed to cough it out. It's still there though. I still cough it out. And these things, they like to really grow right up around your ear, so it's a real sensitive areas where you got to get them, unfortunately. But maybe that's why it grows there, because it knows it's safest there, and it's out of the way of the sun or something. I don't know. But hey, it's a fireside chat. I wasn't even thinking that, but finally a good fireside chat where I had something to say. So, bypassing the blood-brain barrier, bypass the blood-brain barrier, and then the stuff can go right into your bloodstream without having to, set off any sensors. We don't want you to have a histamine response or anything. Because that is what our medical system here in the West seems to be based on. It's based on the pain pill and the antihistamine model, in my opinion, which is make drugs, especially if they're addictive, that will numb a person out to not feel any pain, make them feel relaxed even if they shouldn't, and that sort of thing. And the antihistamine model, well, if they have some rash, if they have some outcropping of some kind of issue that's because of an environmental toxin, well, the way to handle that is to suppress the response. Yes, will just suppress all the histamine responses that you could ever have, and then you can be poisoned in real time until you fall over dead, and you won't bother you a bit. You're smart. You're smart. Get some more antihistamines and some pain pills while you're at it. That's a good idea. We're smart. Right? That's our medical model, in my opinion. It's the antihistamine model. And people may not understand what I'm doing here, but if you look at it in a very practical sense, because I'm a very practical person, I've learned to be a mechanic. Really, I kind of taught myself just by kind of paying close attention and taking things in logical steps. And 5 or 6 years into the Kimberly T. rails in this area where I live, I started to notice all kinds of little neurological problems that were cropping up, and not the least of which was my fingers turning white and not being able to feel them. But it wasn't consistent. It was just hit and miss, off and on, and until it became more on than off. And that's when I had to close the shop because I couldn't keep up with it all anymore, especially with my ears ringing 24 hours a day and a headache that lasted a year and a half, before I got in the mud bath, and it finally stopped a little bit. I don't know, it's such a big story, I don't know where to go with it. We breathe this stuff in day and night, each breath. And I realize a nanoparticle is, 6 to 10 nanometers in length. 6 to 10 millionths of a meter. So they're pretty small. They're so small, they're smaller than a cell. They're down there damn near in the electron size, A charged particle, or a non-charged, what is there, a non-charged particle? I don't know. A Higgs boson particle could probably attract one. I don't know what that means. It's tiny. They're incredibly small. And so the rules that they are bound to are the rules of electromagnetism that determine toxicity, really, Why is something toxic? Because it likes your grounded potential. It probably has a positive charge, and upon inhalation and traveling through the bloodstream, it's in search of its negative charge. Or your body notices it and tries to get it out. Either way, it finds its charge place and sticks like glue right there in your joints, or your spine, or your cartilage, or your hair follicles, or your skin, just on your skin, leaving little paleness and whiteness. And just like you would think a flaky, crusty metal would do, it makes you become dried out and flaky and crusty and ashy as it builds up slowly over time. And then you're told, that's normal signs of aging. You're just getting old, that's all it is. Quit complaining, everybody deals with it. When it's really, what is a sign of aging? Sign of aging is the exact same thing as a sign of toxic metal buildup in your body, which is being accelerated and perpetuated in massive amounts. Visibly, we're watching it happen every day, and nobody acknowledges it. Especially the medical system that's, profiting greatly on it while everybody suffers. Yeah, they're good people, I'm sure they're great people. They're probably, very closely affiliated with the Oddfellows and the Masons, I would imagine, because, those groups like to run together. I mean, sure, they'd lie about going to the moon or all the reasons we've ever had a war, or they'd lie about, those kinds of things, but they'd never lie about our medical. No, that's untouchable. Those guys are heroes. They're heroes doing important work. Important work. They don't go to medical school for all them years because for the money, because it costs a lot of money. So why would they do it for the money? You see, no, that's not the reason. They do it because they like to help people, and it just costs a lot of money because of the colleges and the modern technologies, you see. But that's just the way it is, and it makes a lot of sense, and we should never question it, right? Those guys don't do it for the money. They do it. They do it for power and control. They do it because they care about people's health and they want us to be healthy and happy. Thank you, doctor. You're helping me. I just ran out of steam right there. Okay, that's all I got. Thanks. Fireside Chatz ever. Carry on, Wayward Sons.